today.
We should have.
Well, then let's postpone until this afternoon, go in and continue it till this afternoon. And as soon as we get done here, go in and do it.
I don't know that we can do that because it's not listed.
Well, it's my, again, can we discuss?
That's what we needed to talk about. We'll work on that.
I've been here 30 years and I've never been here before.
I'm waiting to make sure that we're up and running.
So, I told you about the chainsaws.
Yes.
They couldn't get them running.
No.
So they
He's,
upgraded me
Don said he's running 3 minutes late.
to 271,
Uh-huh.
and they're firing it off now.
We're up? Okay.
Is that a big 30-inch bar?
20.
20?
Good morning, everybody. And welcome to the special council meeting, Saturday, April 27th, being held here at City Hall. Before we get started, please, everybody make sure your cell phones are on vibrate or shut off. And that takes care of that. Calling to order this meeting, looking for a motion to adopt the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, subsequent to the posting of this agenda, several matters have come up that may result in or are threatened litigation. Two on personnel matters, another one I think may be policy matter. And I would like to make the finding that we call them an emergency and put them on the closed session for discussion today. And the need arose after the posting of the agenda, and they are litigation, and I'd like to have them discussed today. And that would be a form of a motion, I think.
Two items, or
Two personnel and a policy.
the more potential litigation type of an item?
Yes.
Okay, so we have the one, and so you're thinking of adding two potential
Two
litigation
more.
items?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so there's a
And when are we
motion there.
gonna-
You would require a unanimous vote.
Can we move the closed session to the end of our process today?
That's possible, yes.
I'd be happy to have that.
On your
That's
first
not
one?
part of this. The first motion said that it's an emergency items or items that arose after the posting of the agenda. So I first have to make the finding that it was subsequent and it is immediate, urgent.
Actually, this is a special meeting, and it cannot be added to a special meeting. That's actually a rule. Because you can do a special meeting on 24 hours notice. Because you can do a special meeting on 24 hours notice, you can't add agenda items to a special meeting. That's the rule. You can do it to a regular meeting because of the 72 hours, but under the Brown Act, you can't do it to a special meeting.
Call for the vote and we can't vote for it.
There's, you have three kinds of meetings. There's a regular meeting,
No,
72
you don't have to
hours.
explain it further. You're clear.
No.
No, you're clear. You're already clear. You don't have to go down that road. Call for the vote.
Well, there's what we call an emergency meeting also, which is on 1 hour's notice, but that requires usually something that's considered a definite emergency. That can be done on 1 hour's notice. But that's a pretty rare type of event.
Okay, looking for a motion to adopt the,
I made a motion that
And I
said that there
second
was a
that motion.
finding that there was potential litigation. We have a closed session, and I've been told that we can't put it on our closed session. You have to finish with our motion before you go on to anything else.
okay, looking,
No, the
No,
motion is to
he's-
make the finding that something arose after the posting of the agenda and required a special, that we could take into closed session for discussion.
Okay, and so you still want to go through the motion even though we can't
That's
add
what,
it?
that's what the motion will carry with it as action.
Well,
You have a second on that?
yes.
I made the second.
I'm sorry, I apologize for my getting here late, but what is the motion again? I'm not familiar.
Well, there was two items that he wanted to add to the agenda, and I was just indicating that because it's a special meeting, which is on 24 hours' notice, you can't add urgency items at the last minute, only for regular meetings. And that's just because you can always do a meeting on 24 hours' notice. So we could have a meeting 24 hours from now on these issues. If it were a regular meeting, you could add an item at the last minute on if all of you are sitting up there, a 4/5 vote. Or alternatively, in dire emergency type situations, you could do a 1-hour notice meeting, provide notice to the media and,
Counselor, what do you consider a dire emergency?
I'd have to actually look at that one. Typically, a disaster, something that is a statutory type emergency, and that's kind of, I guess, left for the council's discretion to some degree.
I just, and not to, sometimes we've been given advice by council that we've checked with other councils, and they have a difference in the advice that we were given. So what we're asking now, I think what the two councilmen are asking is, are you absolutely sure, or are you kind of sure?
I am. If you'd like, I could find the code section, we could talk about it. So we do have an item on the closed session to discuss right now. So after we're having that, I can share that with the council.
And if not, if we are not legal in being able to pursue this course that Councilman Lisenovich wants, I'm sure he would be willing to request a special meeting 24 hours from now, or maybe at Monday night or something like that. So if we could, I will ask him if he could hold off, withdraw your motion just for the time that he looks that up and is absolutely sure.
Well, I'm not here to question the council on his advice to us. We made the motion, we got the we got the ruling of what how we've been chosen to handle these kinds of affairs. We still have to say to ourselves afterwards, all right, we accept what he says and table or postpone for further discussion another time. So I'm sorry about that part. I mean, would it be better if I removed my motion then? All right, then I will remove my motion if Councilman Stump agrees. And then I will make a motion to approve, to adopt the agenda for today's meeting and have the closed session put at the end of the public hearings.
I'll second it.
Okay, so the motion is to approve adopt the agenda and move closed session to the end of the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any disagreements or abstentions? Seeing none. Okay, so everybody, we're moving public comment for closed session and closed session to the end of the meeting.
Yeah, you're right. Is it possible for us to hold the one closed session before, actually, now that I think about it, because it pertains to these proceedings and what we're about to engage in. That was the, doesn't have to
Okay.
be long.
Okay.
We'll have to change our motion and vote.
My mistake. The reason I put it on there was so that we could have a discussion.
Okay,
Just I made the motion, I amended to reflect having the closed session first.
I'll second it again.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, public comment, closed session. Members of the public are welcome to address the city council only on those items on the closed session agenda. Each member of the public will be given 3 minutes to speak. Closed session 1, pursuant to Cal Government Code 549-569D2, anticipated litigation, 1 case. Anybody from the public? Seeing none, we'll be adjourning to closed session then to discuss.
You wanna join us? Should I? Unless they kick it. It's not, this is during the meeting.
Where's Bob?
Hey, Mayor, can we salute and pray?
We can.
I would really appreciate it.
We can. We're back in session, and report, sir.
Yes, there's nothing to report from the closed session.
Okay. Madam Clerk, could you schedule a special meeting for Monday at 6 p.m. Dealing with one personnel issue and 2 possible cases of litigation?
Closed session item.
And that's a closed session item.
It actually would be good if we could we have a council vote on that?
Okay.
And actually, I
You
think
did,
that
didn't
was performance evaluation. and then,
Performance eval, city manager, and 2 potential cases of litigation. That is
Okay.
That's fine.
that's fine. Can we have a roll call vote?
Okay. Yeah, it looks like we have
Well,
a
we'll
consent.
just do a roll call vote. Go ahead.
Okay, we're going to do a roll call. I'm sorry, can I have a motion in a second?
The motion is to have the meeting at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
I second.
Johnson?
Yes.
Lisenovich?
Yes, thank you.
Harris?
Yes.
Stump?
Yes.
McGuire?
Yes. Okay, that takes care of that. Before we have public hearing, I'd like everybody to please stand for the flag salute and invocation.
Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Continue to stand. Please bow your heads with me. Dear Heavenly Father, we invite your presence in a very special way this evening, or this day. Not evening, it's morning. And Lord, we ask that the Holy Spirit would touch each and every heart, that the things that are said today would be glorifying to a God who is in heaven, and that our blessings would flow from heaven, that each and every one of us would realize that we are just a speck in a small universe, but a very important one. For the glory of your kingdom, I submit this time, our council, our members who have come of the public, into your hands. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Not a problem, sir. Madam Clerk, I was out of out of sequence. Could we do a quick roll call, please? Thank you.
Councilmember Johnson?
Here.
Lisenovich?
I'm here as well.
Harris?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Stump?
Here.
Mayor McGuire?
Here. Okay, public hearing. Public hearing 1. Selection of applications for storefront and delivery-only cannabis dispensaries. I declare this public hearing open. Mr. Stockwell, staff report.
The mayor, members of the council, you have before you your agenda packet, the scoring sheets that were used in the initial scoring, and form to use to take notes as you go through this process. There's a couple of issues up front that we need to clarify. If you look on your map near the airport, Quality Care, Cali Care, their application actually included 2 locations for the storefront that they would open initially at the airport location and have purchased and are proceeding to construct would construct a storefront delivery on Cal City Boulevard at the intersection of Cal City Boulevard and Ludi Avenue and Wonder Acres. So that you might want to just circle that to indicate that and they will clarify that there, but they had indicated in their application that they would start at the airport and then. Can anybody tell what that says? I can't read it. I don't have a pointer.
No. So that was Ludi Avenue and Wonder Acres?
The other item for council would be to decide, staff had initially presented to the council 5 of the 9 applications for storefront. And we would ask whether the council wanted to go ahead and allow all 9 to make presentations. They will have made presentation by the time we're done, but allow them to do that at that point. So a motion from the council to include all 9 applicants in the storefront.
For a motion?
Yeah, we agreed on that, so.
Well, I'll second.
I make the motion that we have all 9 storefront dispensary applicants give presentations.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
We have in this magical little box all 9 applicants for storefront. And I suggest that if there's a neutral party in the building somewhere, applicant, someone that could be reliable.
No, this is before we get started, then we're gonna let them select the numbers so we can get that in
the
and then
computer?
Someone keep track of these as they come up.
This is just the lineup for how the presentation's gonna go, so don't panic.
Purple Star,
Number 9.
Attil Farms, Cal Interest Holding, Trava Group, Cal City Supply, Quality Cannabis, Cal City Natural, Royal Apothecary, SFV Caregivers.
That's taken care of.
Okay, let's go to the recommendation. We go to the first one. Although we have, since it's a public hearing, we probably ought to hear from the public
Yes, sir.
in the beginning rather than on each interview, if that would be possible.
Okay, so at this point in time, does council have any questions at this time? Hang on.
Are we going to have the police chief here?
For law enforcement?
We can arrange that very quickly, thank you. Or at least a police officer. I'll go take care of it.
I'd actually like to see the police chief here. There'll be some questions about security and the city's interaction with the dispensaries and about the expectations of service to them.
I would, at this point, though, give the general public, not the actual applicants, because the applicants will each be given an opportunity to come forward and get a
I'm going to do that in a second, but I need Madam Clerk out here. Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay, so council, have any questions at this time? Hearing none. Madam Clerk, any report of any late communications?
No, sir.
Thank you. Okay, calling for public testimony. Does anybody wish to address the council prior to this getting started?
And if I could, just to clarify for the record, so this is the opportunity for the general public to come forward and give testimony, whether it's concerning a dispensary, a storefront, or a delivery. Any comments that you might have about any of the applicants or about anything about the process or anything on this issue. This is your opportunity to speak.
Good morning, Al Hudson. What I'm going to suggest, because there's a restricted number of permits being permitted, we need to have a plan B, and that is in the event that any of the permitted storefronts or delivery services decide to close up for any reason, that someone else could step in without having to go through a long waiting and vetting process to take their place. That just makes sense. And that's sort of like a backup plan to keep things going so that there's no delay in the city's potential revenue and such. Thank you.
Jeannie O'Laughlin, California City. I'm sorry.
Yeah, if you're on behalf
I'm
of...
talking as a city. I live in the city of California City, so I lose my right to speak?
No.
Oh.
Are you going to be speaking on behalf of an applicant?
No, I'm
Okay.
yeah.
All right, I just wanted to be clear.
Yeah.
We wanted to make sure, do the public first.
Yeah. No, I was just kind of curious, and I think it would be helpful for all the parties concerned, because this is a competitive process, to maybe understand some of the criteria that were used. For example, location. How do you get 100% on location? What specifically was looked at? The same thing with financials, maybe. What were the criteria that you were looking for to rank these? Some of the neighborhoods. So some of those would be of interest to people. Well, me as a city person, how was one location better than another? What were some of the criteria used to rank those? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning, DJ Tuhig. With respect to the idea of public comments coming in front, when you have a competitive process for two storefronts, I don't think that's reasonable that the public can gather their thoughts on property characteristics in advance. I don't know each of your skill sets individually on property characteristics, but on that merit alone, I think the public should have a chance to see the presentation and bring comment on the storefronts. Please give that some consideration. If you have expertise in each of the components that you've scored, give consideration that the public hasn't had a chance to see all that. So maybe they can't bring intelligent remarks on property characteristics in advance when they haven't even seen anything. Please give consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else?
Yes, sir. My name is Grant Reason. I'm a recent citizen of the city, And I want to give my full support to DJ's remarks. As a matter of protocol, I wouldn't presume to tell you how to do your business, but just logically, it seems that the presentation should go first, and the citizen can make an informed decision or a comment. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Anybody else? Looking for a motion to close public comment?
I'll make that motion.
A second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Council discussion?
Mayor, if I could address an answer to a couple of these things.
Yes, sir.
The code is already indicates that once the council makes a selection, if the applicants cannot perform, then the next one on the list would take their place within the 1 year period of time from then.
That's not mandatory, but it is in the code as an option, yes.
So it would not be necessary to go through the process again. And the other is that my suggestion wasn't that we not hear from the public afterwards, but that we don't hear from the public at each presentation by the candidates. So if the council wanted to, after hearing all 9 initial presentations, take public comment, that certainly wouldn't interfere. But if we bring public comment into the process, we're going to be very, very long into the individual presentations process.
So, if we do not have, we're gonna add one after, before council discussion and have the presentation start. Then that way, if anybody has any questions, they can. So that being said, we'll be dealing with the storefront dispensaries first. And number one, up is Purple Star.
Hey, good morning. How you guys doing? My name's Eric, and I'm the project manager for Purple Star, Inc. And we invested in California City back in 2017. So we already have 5 acres of land with construction already underway. Anticipated completion date is late July. So this would expedite tax revenue and services that we can generate and provide to California City. So the reason for this presentation is to give you an idea about why we're qualified for this storefront dispensary license. I'll be talking about our funding, current project progress, retail experience, community benefits plan, product safety and quality assurance, and future influence on investors. So for funding, we're fully funded by private investors. So there's not going to be any issues with financing. We have $2 million ready to support our dispensary business. We also have significant capital resources waiting for additional expansion opportunities, which we plan on reinvesting in Cal City. And so our current project progress, so like I said, we have 5 acres of land with construction ongoing, and we already have multiple city permits on hand. We've ordered and paid for all of our building materials in full. That includes 20,000 square feet in metal building materials already on site, 40,000 square feet of greenhouse materials already on site, and we have all the required permits and documents required for state licensing. And that's in progress too. So for retail experience, we have a management team assembled with over 10 years of retail experience in the health products industry. And we are committed to engage in professional recruiting practices to hire the most qualified candidates from the local community. So moving on to our community benefits plan. We're planning to hire the majority of our workforce from local residents of the area, which will keep the money generated from our business within the local community. And we plan on hiring more than 10 local residents and will provide health and dental insurance benefits for them. And we'll also be making annual contributions to the city to help with education, fire department, police department, and city projects. And we'll also plant trees, lawns, plants on site to ensure a clean and aesthetically pleasing environment for the neighborhood. For product assurance, product safety and quality assurance, because we'll be cultivating and manufacturing our own products, we'll be able to offer our products at the most competitive prices and highest quality. Our quality control plan will guarantee the highest quality of product, and we will also have an enhanced product safety plan, which includes employee access levels, security training, diversion prevention, inventory control, and more. So, moving on to influence on future investors, we already have 3 investors on board with more to come in the future. We also have significant capital resources and investors waiting for additional expansion opportunities. So our success in California City will help us gain new investors, which we will reinvest in California City. And we anticipate on expanding to 100,000 square feet of greenhouses, 50,000 square feet of cannabis factories, and 20,000 square feet of distribution centers by 2020. So, in conclusion, we're qualified for this delivery or this dispensary permit because of all the points that I've stated: the funding, current project progress, retail experience, community benefits plan, product safety and assurance, and future influence on investors. And we want to work together with all of you towards a better future for California City. And that's it.
Mayor,
And-
if I could clarify one thing.
Yes, sir.
For all of the applicants to be making the presentations, for those that have applied for both a storefront and a delivery, we're only asking them to make one presentation. So for this gentleman, if he'd like to clarify their capacity in dealing with a delivery only, all of the applicants have an opportunity to clarify if there's something different about their delivery than there would be on the storefront.
Yeah, I don't have any
Point of-
differences.
Point of order. As we said, we will give them the opportunity. They can come up later if they want to talk separately on their other business. You don't have to include it here if you want.
No. The agenda was very clear that they don't have to.
Yeah, they don't have to, but if they want to, I'm just saying, if you want to, you can, or if you just want to include it here, you can also. Whichever is.
Okay, yeah, this was for both the delivery only and the storefront. And just one question, on the veteran or women's criteria, what was the requirements for that? Because I think when we filled it out, we kind of overlooked it.
Either being a woman-owned, meaning 51% owned by women, or
Okay.
being a veteran of the U.S. Armed Forces.
Okay, is there any way we can go back and change that? Because we I don't know who filled it out for us, but kind of overlooked that one.
If we begin that, we will be here for a very long time. Because after closing the applications, we didn't accept any additional information because we would have to done so, notify everyone, so.
Okay.
We didn't allow anybody to amend their application after it was presented.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. Next up is Antelope Farms. Teal. Antel? Teal. I didn't have any questions. Did anybody else? I apologize.
Yeah, and if you want to make notes as they come up,
Yeah.
or different entity.
Excuse me. Is the police chief going to come? He's on his way. I guess. I guess what I'm not clear, and that's one of the reasons I wanted the police chief here, was that when we're seeing a retail operation right in the midst of a industrial operation, there's some safety issues, there's some other, I kind of wanted to get a sense of what kind of processing, what kind of chemicals are going to be on site, what kind of disasters we might be seeing when there's retail customers potentially on the campus of these factories. And that was a question I had for Purple Star, if he wanted. You're saying you're a manufacturing.
If Purple Star can come back up to the podium real quick. Sorry, folks.
What type of manufacturing, I mean, what kind of processes are you going to be using to extract your distillate?
We're not going to be using the highest classification. That's butane, right? We're going to be using the
propane,
the second classification, ethanol.
Ethanols?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. As you are really kind of out there by yourself, what do you envision for your not just retail operation, but also for delivery and just for your operation in general as far as security goes? You present some unique challenges,
right,
from the city to help you with your with security for your service for your site.
Yeah, we're gonna have security guards and like surveillance videos, stuff like that on site.
I guess, and I'm going to want to hear it from every single presentation, because you're going to be wonderful targets for bad things to happen. And the retail portion is special because I think we, as a community, will be responsible for those people that are in your businesses during hours of operation. But even afterwards, there's going to be a question of our police officers coming and responding to what's going on at your facilities. Again, a lot of cash, and the product is worth a lot of money too. You're going to be wonderful big targets that we may not be able to help, or you may overwhelm the capacities of our police department to
Right.
aid you.
Right.
So these are things that are going to become, to me, on you to completely be responsible, and then we're going to be kind of outside helping somewhat, but I don't know to what degree we can protect you. Come on in. Chief, have you seen some of these applications?
A couple.
I have special concerns about some of these that are really kind of all by themselves out in the desert. How can the police respond to actions there?
You have to forgive me. Which one are we talking about?
Purple Star is the very top one in the corner. It looks like it's 2 block, or it looks like, is it a section in? Is a mile in from Neuralia? Or is that a half
I'm
mile?
not sure. It's,
No? Is that Yerba? Oh, okay, so it is a mile. Okay. Okay, all right, so it's a mile off. My concern is that and I apologize that if I feel like I'm kind of paranoid. The kind of people that can potentially be causing you grief are people that are going to be doing this under a well-designed plan, and potentially they can be very serious people, and they may outman our police department, and they may outgun our police department, and I don't know that I want to send my police department with flashing lights when they can be seen a mile away coming to protect. So anyway, that's why again, that's it's gonna be more on you people than other people.
Yeah, we have a security plan, but yeah, those are good concerns you have.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I have a quick question.
Sir?
Do you have a veteran on your team?
Right now, I'm not too sure, but we do have women.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The criteria we use is that the veteran or the woman had to be a
51%.
controlling member of the business. To clarify one thing, what we evaluated each application based upon the city code requirements for security and the state Bureau of Cannabis Control on security. So we've already checked inside their plans to be sure that they met those minimums.
I guess what happens, though, is that my particular issue was that the potential threats and the potential ways that our PD might have to respond are special and may involve these businesses taking a large role in that response before we come, and I just want to get a sense of that they're aware of that and that they're comfortable with that, particularly in a location such as yours. That it just, to me, it's kind of spooky. Okay, thank you very much.
May I ask?
Yes.
Chief Hurtado, so there's an indication up here that it would really strain our police department to respond if something were to happen at this site. I'm just going to say for all sites, what sort of problems do you think you would encounter, or do you think you would encounter any at all?
For any site that has product on site, I'm sure there will be at some point where we'll need to do some type of intervention or investigation. Any place that doesn't have product on site, there probably won't be as much need for law enforcement. But if you're talking storefronts, yeah, they're going to be up there.
There's also going to be cash.
Yes.
Did you have any other questions?
So you would anticipate problems in responding if we just did 2 storefronts?
My goal is to be able to have a plan in place where there be some prevention and measures in place so we wouldn't need to respond. And that responsibility should be on the business owner. We're not there to go there every day to handle calls. They need to be able to provide their own measures so it does not put a strain on the city.
Any other questions? Any other questions? Okay, sir.
Yeah, when we talked about this earlier, the council before this in their three of us up here who were there then, we emphasized to all of you business owners, and you probably remember, that security is going to be something that is your responsibility. And, you know, you need to ensure that you have proper security to protect yourselves, your employees, and your product. And we highly emphasize that, and there were some people who were saying, oh, we can go with the minimum. Well, if you feel that the minimum will protect you, but, you know, your job is to protect yourself and your employees, and that's why we emphasized good security plans. So, you know, I don't expect all of you to be calling Chief Hurtado and have him on speed dial every 5 minutes or so on. That's your responsibility. And again, you need to have adequate security. You know, this is a business that has lots of cash, as all of you know, and you're a big target. So if you're going to be keeping it in your place, or if you're going to be transporting it, when several of us went on a trip to Desert Hot Springs and to Palm Desert, we saw, and Adelanto, we saw businesses there, especially Desert Hot Springs. They could compete with the base, with Edwards Air Force Base as far as their security. The trucks they had, bulletproof, former Navy SEALs and all kinds of people like that on their staff. So I'm not saying that you need to do that, but you need to be able to protect yourself. And security, all of us up here and our citizens of California City worrying about the security of you guys getting broken into or anything like that, that is on you. That's a business that you got into with possibility of people coming after you, so you need to make the adequate you need to make sure that you have the proper security. So that's something that's very important in your business. So enough said for me. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't. I'm afraid this is sounding a little bit like we wouldn't respond to you, and it's all on you. And I don't think the chief actually feels that it's in that sense. It's all on you. We will protect our citizens. We will protect our businesses. Everyone submitted a security plan, which I went through, and they were actually all very good. But I don't like. I hope no one's getting the message that, you know, we would abandon you, because that's absolutely not true.
All right. You're on, folks.
This is for Teal Farms retail dispensary. This is off California City Boulevard, number 16 Teal Farms. The project manager, part of the team for Teal Farms, veteran Air Force. What we have as far as security protocols will meet or exceed state requirements. We'll definitely coordinate with the chief of police and make sure that we meet or exceed his expectations to make sure that Teal Farms has the best security out there possible. We will have either ex-military or ex-police officer, off-duty officers as our security team. We'll have 1 to 2 officers, security officers there at all times. We hope that we don't need the California City Police to come help us. We're going to have security measures in place that you enter in one way and you have to exit out another way. All entry and exits are controlled. So you can't just come in or barge in unless we want you to come into the facility, and you can't leave the facility unless we want you to leave the facility. So our security protocols are going to be high. Same way with when we take products in and out, we have security measures in place. Hopefully military-grade security or more. Same thing with our cash when we transport that. We're going to make sure that everything is secure in either our armored vehicle or one of our personal vehicles, that we make sure it's secure in every respect, including the tires, including all the protocols, and making sure that we don't have a set time. We'll have a varied time. So we're not going to fall into the usual traps of being robbed, and we're going to take every protocol, every measure necessary to make sure that we're safe. As far as any products on site that are hazardous, Teal Farms is a 20-acre facility. There will be other cultivation, manufacturing, and distribution on Teal Farms. However, this portion, which is also commercial, Teal Farms has both industrial and commercial on the same property. The commercial aspect of it is where the retail dispensary will be. There won't be any hazardous chemicals on site. This is going to be strictly a retail outlet, not a manufacturing area. So we will have products that are prepackaged. We'll have flowers, oils, salves, lotions, all those things are prepackaged. So we're not going to be manufacturing anything in that commercial area that are hazardous.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Linda Radwan, co-founder of Teal Farms LLC, representing the cannabis retail dispensary and delivery permit today. My professional background is in real estate and development. I've been licensed in the state of California by the Department of Real Estate since 2004. I also interned at the San Diego District Attorney's Office and a few months shy of a law degree. Wish me luck. Today I'm here to explain the many reasons why Teal Farms LLC is the ideal candidate for the cannabis retail dispensary and delivery permit. The company's professional and legal The company's professional and legal structure will serve as an asset to this community, bringing safety and security to the cannabis industry and fulfilling the medical cannabis needs of the city and its visitors. The company will not only bring a legal structure to the industry, but will also bring with it an entire professional team consisting of business developers, lawyers, accountants, veterans, cannabis consultants, marketing PR firms, professional bud tenders, and a full security team and an armored logistics team as well. Teal Farms LLC is a financially stable company with a substantial fund for the creation of a state-of-the-art medical cannabis dispensary. The dispensary will look and feel like a high-end pharmacy with sophisticated bud tenders. Its focus will be on professionally branded Teal Farms LLC products that will serve all medical needs, ranging from PTSD, epilepsy, anxiety, and cancer, to name a few. Meanwhile, the Seed to Farm concept will be a brand that will be nationally recognized and marketed throughout the state of California, representing California City. The financial stability of the company will also allow for the setup of the dispensary without any delay and a timely fashion that will bring a legal and a professional existence to the current market. Teal Farms LLC is also ideally located on the main California City Boulevard, away from schools, churches, parks, and libraries, and not affecting the existing establishments. Go ahead. No. Its proximity from Highway 14 is approximately 3 to 4 miles, making it convenient for residents as well as visitors to strategically enter and exit the dispensary for all their medical cannabis needs without delay or obstruction. In addition to the professional team that is well versed in every aspect of the cannabis business, the company's financial stability, and its ideal location, Teal Farms LLC will also assure the safety and security affiliated in every aspect of the dispensary, from security that will be managed by a team of ex-military professionals to a fleet of secure armored vehicles that will be used logistically for all transportation. Safety and security will remain the company's main priority. Overall, ladies and gentlemen, Teal Farms LLC is honored to be representing California City, and if selected today for the cannabis retail dispensary and delivery permit, it will assure a state-of-the-art medical cannabis dispensary that will bring additional jobs to the local citizens, revenue, a good reputation, and wealth to the city in a professional, safe, and secure manner. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time and effort today. You are appreciated.
I just want to add about the construction aspects of it. It's already passed environmental, all CEQA, Fish and Wildlife, and it's at the last stage of engineering. It's going to start grading in about a couple of weeks. The grading process should start. The streets, we are actually improving the streets. We're adding in turning lanes, acceleration lanes, deceleration lanes. So we want to make sure that not only the safety while you're traveling on that street, turning into onto Maverick, and making sure that you safely exit And whenever you arrive, there won't be any traffic issues because we've made sure that we've improved the street, widened the streets, and added all the safety protocols, turning lanes that are needed to make sure that it's a good place to go. Easy access off the 14, and also for the residents, when we do delivery, within a 15, 20-minute, 30-minute timeline, we can deliver the products to the citizens of California City. Okay, it's also great for recreational. Whenever you're going off the 14 or passing through Cal City Boulevard, going for off-highway vehicle, medicinal use, it's the perfect place to stop, pick up your medical products or recreational products, whatever your needs are, and make sure that you can be on the road or reach your destination safely to then consume your products in a safe environment.
Any questions from council?
Is there any place in your packet, because I did look through it, but I didn't see it, that shows us what you're intending on doing on Cal City Boulevard to gain access to your facility?
Right. So we can.
Is it in there?
The package shows a brief overview of it. It does show it on there.
Where's it
However,
at?
the detail near the end, right after the map, of the main map. The main details are not shown on there. The engineer has just sent that to the city's engineer for approval, and they have just recently gone through that process. So I can get that to you. I think I have the email. I can send that to you right after this.
You say that's under site plan layout? Or it's
On
not
site-
in here? Really?
The site plan layout gives you the general idea. The details are not in there. Those are large files. I can just email that to you. Those are PDF large site plan files.
If I may answer your question, all the projects on CCB are doing full extent Caltrans spec turn pockets and center turn lanes, and that's part of their engineering packet for their whole project, not this.
I guess I wanted to get a sense of what that solution looked like.
It's
is all.
Caltrans spec center turn pockets and right and left merge and acceleration lanes. Very much similar to what you have on a smaller scale at Westway Station.
Okay.
We're working very closely with Craig to make sure that we meet all the Caltrans requirements, and he's approved everything that we've done. All the guidance and advice from him we've implemented into the plan. So we're meeting or exceeding the plans to make sure that to get to the Teal Farms dispensary, it's going to be a safe streets and safe turning lanes when you're entering and exiting.
Mr. Johnson, do you have it? Sir? I just have one question. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you have?
I'm done. Good. You're good.
The only other question I had, you stated off-duty officers for security. I guess my question would be, Chief, would that not be if any of our police officers, would that not be a conflict of interest?
None of our officers will be employed by them.
There's an actual company, ODO, off-duty officers. They do security work, so it doesn't necessarily have to be California City police officers. This is another company that does that, not in Cal City.
Thank you. Anybody else have any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so that takes care of that. Number 3. Cal Interest Holding.
Catherine Efford Floyd. I've been quiet long enough for my voice to get cracky. Gentlemen, is it possible to be able to give you each one of these? It's so much better with a picture and in writing. It's very easy to say things, and you can go back and listen to a tape. But everything here is in writing. Denise? You can give one. All the gentlemen. Most of you know my background. I've pastored a church in this town for 35 years. I've been a realtor in town since 1968. My expertise in cannabis simply stems from a lot of research that I had to do a thesis. I discovered that not only is medical marijuana very, very important to this country, but recreation as well. And At this time, I want to turn it over to our in-house attorney, Greg. He's bigger than I am, so I don't have much choice. Thank you.
Good morning, council members, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, and people of California City.
Could you move the mic up there?
Yes.
Thank you.
Good morning, council members, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, and people of California City. We're very excited to be here with you this morning. I'd like to introduce members of our team. We have Mr. Michael Simonian here, who's the principal owner of Dispensary Haven, Orange County in Santa Ana, California. And we have Mr. Mark Simonian, who's the Chief Operating Officer of Haven, Santa Ana, as well as one of the principal owners of Wright Greens Maywood Dispensary outside of downtown LA. Michael would like to say a little bit about himself.
So, hi, my name is Michael Sabonian. I've been in the legal cannabis space since 2013 when I partnered up with the pre-ICO license holder to relocate his dispensary to a compliant location under the city's ordinance. While operating in one of the first regulated markets in California, I realized where the industry was headed, and in 2015 founded ShowGrow with 2 other partners. Since founding ShowGrow in 2015, I have acquired over 14 licenses in 4 different states. The experience that I've gained through the process of acquiring these licenses, building out the locations, operating in compliance with state and local regulations is invaluable and will help set us apart from the other applicants in California City. Our ability to work with local partners and local governments has been lucrative for everyone involved. The tax revenue generated by our locations is in the millions of dollars, and we plan on bringing that to California City. Our track record of benefiting local host communities is part of the culture of our organization and can be seen when you visit any one of our locations. With your support, we will bring this to California City.
Hi, my name is Mark Simonian. I started in the cannabis industry about 2 years ago when I was brought on to be Chief Operating Officer of the Haven store in Santa Ana, California. Since then, I have also applied for and became an owner of a license in Maywood, which is outside of Los Angeles. Currently, we employ over 45 employees between management, staff. Since taking part in the Haven Santa Ana company in 2017, I've been able to help increase revenues by over 88%, up to approximately $5 million last year, which has provided about $323,000 in tax revenue for the city of Santa Ana. We just started the dispensary in Maywood, California, back in November of 2018, and we're looking forward to starting a dispensary here in California City.
My name is Greg Nachum, and I'm in-house attorney for Haven Santa Ana and Wright Greens Maywood. So I'd like to talk a little bit about our proposed location. We selected this location because it was outside the city of California City and right off of Highway 14 and California City Boulevard. There is a lot of traffic. According to Caltrans, our research shows there's about 15,000 cars that go there, drive by there per day. That would bring in a lot of customers, which would be a lot of tax revenue for the city of California City. There is currently an existing structure, so what we would do is we would open up in that existing structure as well as building a new state-of-the-art structure on the same premises. We also like this location because it's 1,000 feet from the nearest residence and it's 7 miles away from the nearest daycare or school. It is very, very, very visible and very centrally located to the highway. So we're going to do advertising in conjunction with whatever the city permits, not directed anywhere near children, not directed anywhere near any sensitive uses, but we would work to make sure that this is a successful dispensary that does a lot of business and brings in a lot of revenue for the city of California City. Next slide, please. So our financials. Michael and Mark combined between them have over $1 million in working capital to see this project through. That would be necessary, of course, in startup costs as well as the first year of business. As the business picks up, you need to make sure you're sufficiently funded. Based on the number of people that drive by through Highway 14 as well as the population of the surrounding communities, we're projected to do about $2 million in our first year of sales, and that's expected to grow up to $5 million by year 3. And we think just the first year alone should bring in approximately $125,000 in tax revenue for California City. Neighborhood compatibility. So the outside of the dispensary is going to have neutral colors. It's not going to have any electrical signage. It's going to have just the name of the dispensary, Haven, on it. It's going to have sufficient parking, so it's not a nuisance to any neighbors we may have, although we are pretty remote located there. We do not have a lot of things around us, which is another thing we like. So all our customers will be able to park on site. We're going to make sure there's no loitering, and there is absolutely no on-site consumption of any narcotics or any other substances. We'll make sure that customers go in, they get the best customer service they can, and that they promptly exit. The interior of the store, this is actually the interior of our Wright Greens Maywood dispensary outside of downtown Los Angeles. We would be utilizing a commercial HVAC system to make sure that there's no nuisances and no odors for the surrounding neighbors that we may have there. We're going to use stained refinished concrete floors, wood accents, and as well neutral paint colors. And we're going to do what we've done with our Haven, Santa Ana dispensary and Maywood dispensaries, is to have a community liaison. So that would be a person that's available on call anytime any member of the community or the city council or the mayor's office, city manager's office have any questions, they can reach out to that community liaison person with any concerns they may have. So our security plan. Security is paramount, and with all the experience we have a very detailed security plan in place. We would have licensed uniformed security guards providing around-the-clock security. These guards are there 24/7, both interior and exterior. We would have at least 2, most likely 3 guards there. At least 1 guard would be there at all times, probably 2. We would have every point of egress and ingress monitored with security cameras. These would be high-definition cameras. We'd have a 24/7 alarm system with a state-licensed alarm company. We would have motion detection and glass break sensors, which we already have implemented in our stores. We would have a locked, secured vault where we would store all the cannabis inventory, and that would be only accessible to store employees, managers, and owners. This would be not accessible to any members of the public, and it would be locked behind a secured door off the showroom floor. All of our products are displayed in locked, secure display cases. There are no THC products outside those display cases, so everything would be locked and secured. Next slide. So community benefits. We want to give back to the community for allowing us the shot at this tremendous opportunity. To that end, we would donate $15,000 a year every year we're in operation to the California City Police Department, as well as $15,000 a year for the maintenance of Central Park Lake. We would ask our employees, at least for the first few years of operation, that they would go to the Central Park Lake on a monthly basis to do cleanup. And we'd want to incentivize our customers in the local community by sales or discounts on cannabis items at our store if they also assist with Central Park Lake. Some of the past charitable events that we've hosted with our dispensaries are trash pickups at local parks, homeless food drives, holiday donation drives, and beach cleanup. So this is the labeling, example of the labeling of the products we'd have. All our products would be in complete compliance with BCC, Bureau of Cannabis Control regulations. That includes labeling whether the item is an indica or sativa, the THC ratio versus the CBD ratio, the weight of the product, making sure it's in child-proof packaging, and as well as a detailed explanation of where it came from and where the item was grown. So that would all be in compliance with all state regulations. Labor and employment. Our huge focus here is to hire locally, to hire California City residents whenever possible, and from local Kern County communities. We would hold a job fair, which is what we've done in Santa Ana and at our Maywood dispensaries. We would not discriminate against anyone with prior marijuana convictions. We understand that employees they're looking for job opportunities and a living wage. So to that end, we would offer starting pay at 150% of minimum wage. Our current employees average about $17 an hour at our Santa Ana dispensary and $16.50 at our Maywood dispensary. And we're also almost unique in this position that we offer health and dental benefits to all our sales associates at our Santa Ana locations. In addition to that, we've entered into a labor peace agreement with a local union if our employees do so choose to unionize. So a little bit about the local nature of this. Miss Effort Floyd has been a longtime resident, nearly 50 years, over 50 years at California City. She is the primary owner of Cal Interest Holdings. She would be involved in helping manage the dispensary. And not only would we hire our sales team and managers, but we also, when it comes to the build out of the stores, we would hire contractors, construction teams, electricians, plumbers, waste disposals. We try and hire all of that locally whenever possible from California City and the surrounding Kern County communities. So a little bit about our delivery service. Our delivery service would be to service the people of Cal City, California City, and the surrounding Kern County communities. We will not deliver to any communities that prohibit cannabis. All our vehicles will have GPS tracking, a locked storage compartment, alarm system, temperature control, and it will be completely unmarked. You'll have no idea that this is a cannabis delivery vehicle. It'll look like a normal vehicle. All deliveries will include a manifest of all products and as well as a location of manifest of where the items are being delivered to. All drivers will be fully licensed and insured and required to have a clean driving record. We'll be following all standard operating procedures regarding preparation, delivery, and we'll be using cashless forms of payment. So credit cards and debit cards will be exclusively permitted. And we plan to use American-made hybrid vehicles, electric vehicles, to be eco-friendly whenever possible. And the last thing we do that's a little unique to our stores is we've partnered with a company called MyJane. MyJane is targeted at customers, female customers over the age of 40, because we believe they're underserved and underrepresented when it comes to cannabis. What MyJane does is they put together these boxes. They look like large gift packages that are targeted at female consumers. They include items like CBD bath bombs, THC-infused teas, and other cannabis products. And it's a delivery service that goes, it's a subscription service, monthly subscription service. You call up MyJane. You can subscribe through our store in Santa Ana. And they deliver it, and it's been very successful thus far. And we'd be excited to continue doing the MyJane program in California City. And that concludes our presentation. We'd be happy to answer any questions that the council members may have.
Sir? How soon would you be up and operational if you have a permit?
Basically, it all depends on how fast you'll give us building permits so we can, TI the structure that's already there, get operational there, and then, yeah, it kind of depends on you guys.
So,
our expectation is 6 months.
Permit, then. 6 months?
6 months.
Thank you.
Yes.
What's the current zoning of this property? C2?
C2.
Don't remember doing that. When did that happen? Do you remember when it happened, Catherine?
According to the zoning verification letter that we received from the city, they listed it as C2.
Well, I have no doubt you're right. I just asked when it happened.
Oh, sorry.
When did it happen?
Yeah.
When, I don't know, most of you, I think you remember. It was like back in the 90s when the Christian Center sent out letters to all the owners to get the property incorporated from Mitchell Boulevard all the way to 14. And at that time, the zoning was asked for at C2. And then right after that, the Committee on City Development and Growth, the citizens community, had met. And I think it was right around that time that they agreed that was going to be C2 because they had to submit that to the League of Cities. And I believe that's about, when it was. And it was always in the county. It was always, I don't forget what they called it. It wasn't residential. It was agricultural something.
Yeah.
So it was kind of an easy rollover to RC2 because RC2 is not like, downtown LA. So it requires, what you're asking, Dr. Nick, it requires a conditional use permit, as do all the other properties, I believe.
That's fine. Your commitment is, your corporate commitment is 150% of minimum wage?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. This was the particular one that had me the most concerned for the police response, because you are the furthest away, but also the one that is the easiest in terms of access from the highways and probably the most vulnerable of all the businesses. The location, I think, is stellar, but you also are going to be unto yourselves in that response. Are you comfortable with that?
We are. We have experience with areas that are not necessarily always readily accessible. In Santa Ana, we're in a very industrial area that's far from.
No, you're really accessible.
Yeah,
you're real accessible.
Well, we're farther from the city, but closer to the highway. Like I said, we would have at least 2 to 3 armed security guards at all time. Everything is in an electronic safe. The only people that would have access to it would be employees, managers, and staff, and we would have guards there. So even during non-operation hours, and these guards are armed as well. One of the things that we have in our Santa Ana store that we would implement at California City is an emergency button that would be a direct line to the police department. So there's a panic button under the actual display case that sales associates would be able to push.
But the time is 10 minutes. I mean, are you comfortable with that?
In addition, I mean, we have magnetically locking doors that gain access into the dispensary. So there's also that feature that provides security.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Let me also remind you that we also have cameras. Now, most of you are familiar with the Ring doorbell, okay? Those cameras can be channeled to someone in town that can monitor it. That can be monitored 24 hours a day, and not only sending our own police department. I don't want to tax our police department either. Believe me. I don't think sending our own policemen. I think alerting one of our own security guys who may be at lunch or maybe home in bed or whatever. Hopefully they live fairly close, and I think that the video surveillance is going to be just stellar. Thank you.
And we would have security on site 24/7.
Thank you.
Don, do you have any?
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Or those are questions.
So how many people from the community do you anticipate you will be hiring? I mean, you can't force you to do anything, but I want to emphasize that from the community with the unemployment here, it would be a big deal.
Yeah, no, for our dispensary in Maywood, California, where we see around what we'd expect to see the same amount of business starting out, would be about 15 people. And then as we progress through years 2 and 3, going up to about 20 to 25 people based on our pro forma. In addition to that, we have actually implemented a job fair that we did in Maywood, California when we opened up. And we're encouraging local, local enterprise. So we're trying to get employees from the community. We started off with 100% local Maywood residents. 5 months later, we're at 80%. But we're still actively trying to get those people through the door.
I commend you on your 150% of minimum wage, and I'm sure that you are aware that in 2020, the minimum wage in California will be $12 an hour, so it'll be you'll be paying $18 an hour, and in 2022, it'll be $15 an hour, making that $22.50 an hour.
So the 150% would be initially to start. We would always be paying considerably above minimum wage, whether that if the minimum wage jumped to $25 an hour, it would be difficult, obviously, from a business sense, to pay 150%. But certainly in the beginning, for the first at least couple of years, we will definitely be paying 150% of minimum wage, and our goal is always to be several dollars considerably above minimum wage.
Okay, thanks for the clarification.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else? Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Next up will be Trupp Group. morning.
My name is Casey Daniels. I'm the Chief Compliance Officer for Traba Group. I emailed you a PowerPoint at City Manager and City Clerk. If somebody could pull that up. I don't have a thumb drive. Is that possible?
My drive didn't have their presentation. No, we're going to see it right now. I don't know how good our Wi-Fi is here. I get dropped off a lot. Here's what my phone does. I have the whole time look for it and see it. Oh my God. It never connects. I mean, it connected, but yeah, it's a bad, just poor connection.
All right, so good morning. I'm Casey Daniels. I'm the Chief Legal Compliance Officer for Traba Group. We're applying for a Type 10 storefront delivery from the BCC as well as a Type 9 non-storefront delivery. The site is located at 5175 California City Boulevard. We have 18 state-approved 10,000 square foot canopy cultivation licenses, one Type 7 manufacturer license approved by the California Department of Public Health, one distribution license approved by the Bureau of Cannabis Control, and our goal is to have 2 deliveries, hopefully a storefront here, and also we're applying in Los Angeles. Our goal is full vertical integration, farm to table. So we'll be cultivating, manufacturing, processing, and selling. We are in the final stages of the SDR process and working with the city to figure out the water situation, which has turned out to be complicated. And there's 2 entities on the site, Traba Group and VG Enterprise. VG Enterprise runs the distribution and 8 of the cultivation. The rest is under Traba Group. Next, please. Our estimated startup costs for the dispensary alone are in the $615,000 range. We have secured a $1 million line of credit for this project. We intend to have a wide delivery radius. It's hard to say right now because I believe there's pending litigation on whether or not cities can keep deliveries out. So we'll see what happens. We're going to do our marketing on traditional cannabis platforms such as Leafly and Weed Maps. We have production facilities at our integrated business park, and that will ensure that we have a steady flow of cannabis and cannabis products. And we plan to feature a good portion of the products being our own flower or derivative products, vapes, cartridges, and other concentrates. Our equipment and environmental pledge, we're going to use GreenBits point of sale software, which integrates with the state's metric system, so it helps with inventory, full compliance. We're going to use the Toyota Prius for our delivery vehicles. They're safe, nondescript, hybrid, environmentally friendly. Xeriscaping landscaping tactics. We're not going to put trees and flowers, we're going to put cactus and whatever else represents Mojave. Ideally, in a few years, we can get permitting for solar to supplement all of our power. We'll be using WaterSense faucets and toilets, as well as Energy Star rated appliances. Small things, but good faith effort. Our security contractor is Sam Yador. He owns Yador Enterprises and Spartan Transport. He's a licensed security contractor, a veteran, minority business owner. He'll do the safety training, the driver training, the cash handling training, the security systems, which include cameras, alarms, and backup storage, as well as RFID badge limited access implementation. So my take on the security situation is, for these business parks, the other operations are going to be separate. This premises will be in one corner of the property, and employees have to have access. So there won't be any crossover between the facilities. Also, the state requires that these cameras capture within 20 feet all entrances and exits, interior and exterior, with facial recognition capability. So our goal is not to, if somebody comes out there, to show up with guns. Our goal is to get a good picture of them, first and foremost. Like everyone has said, these facilities are very secure. And ultimately, it might be a good idea for, whatever companies end up operating to get together on some kind of night patrol, a private company that just drives around and shows a presence. There's also Knox boxes, so in terms of police access and fire access, that's how the police and fire have access to the facility when no one else can. Community benefits. We're going to encourage our employees to do a minimum of 10 hours community service per year, local organizations. We're going to make a $2,000 annual donation to the Lions Club International and Optimist International, which both have a presence in California City. They help with things like childhood cancer programs and other support services. Once our startup costs are recouped, we would donate 1 to 3% of our profits to local causes, and we'll work with the city on that. We're going to give preferential hiring to California City residents, local job fairs. I think, is it Sarah Costa, the community college? Yeah. Work with them for job placement. We've been using and will continue to use local contractors. We've been using MDM Architects based in Lancaster for probably 2 years now, and Duke Engineering, also based in Lancaster. And to date, at this business park, the entities combined have spent over $500,000 locally. The sole principal is Yelena Krasnov, obviously a female-owned company. She has a background in accounting and alternative medicines, worked for a holistic healing brand called Gratis. VG Enterprise, the partner company, the other entity at this business park, is owned by a very successful construction contractor that has done massive projects in the past. So we believe once we're going that things are going to be accelerated. Green Consulting Partners, that's where I come in, and we have cannabis clients in several states, including over 24 in California. We have a network that includes retailers in Oceanside, West Hollywood, pretty much throughout Southern California. And that's it. Thanks for your time.
Any questions? Thank you very much. I just want, I think you were down also for an application for delivery?
Yeah. So ideally, we would have both. The email I received said I was presenting for delivery only, so
Yeah,
my application was for both.
Okay. I just want to get some clarification.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I do have a question.
Sir.
I'm sorry. You brought it up, and what sort of contingencies do you have for the water issue? Are you one of the ones that's thinking a well if there
Yeah,
can't
so
be anything
what
else?
we're trying to do is put a fund aside for city infrastructure that the city can monitor, simultaneously get a well permit, and trying to figure out how the city can capture the water rates on that as sort of an interim measure until the infrastructure is ready. All right, thank you.
Sir.
Excuse me, sir. So the well that you wanted is for drinking or for agricultural?
Leave agricultural.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next up will be Cal City Supply. You can hand. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brian Hayek, and first off, I want to say thank you for allowing us this opportunity to submit our application and present to you. It is an honor to be here, and we're very excited to be able to talk about California City Supply, also known as Driven Direct. This is for the retail storefront application as well as the retail non-storefront application. We were the #1 scoring retail storefront application. Very excited about moving forward today with that. And as we go through this presentation, we wanted to talk about service. So one of the things we talk about at Driven is the ability to service customers, the ability to service community, and then us as our business leaders, the ability to service our employees. And so as we talk about this, the keys that I want to talk about are, one, with our application, speed to market. So we'll talk about how fast we'll get to market, start generating revenue for both the city and our business. The excellent location that we're in. We believe we're in one of the best locations within the city where we're located. The responsibility that we have to be focused on security and safety. I know we brought it up several times, but it is something that's very, very important to us. How we're vastly different than the other applicants. We have a little bit different of a business model, and we'll kind of go over what that looks like. Our involvement in the community, that we really want to focus on becoming a part of the fabric of California City with this dispensary location. We're compliance focused. Everything is above board. We have to be. We're part of a publicly traded company, so we meet and exceed all city and local and state regulations. And then finally, between myself and my partner Chris here, our experience and expertise. So we'll highlight these as we go. So a little bit about us. So California City Supply, also known as Driven Direct. Our mission is to create an omni-channel cannabis experience for both retail and delivery for cannabis consumers. What that means is that we want to bring a kind of an e-commerce plus brick and mortar solution to the cannabis industry, where a consumer can walk into the store, have a nice retail presence where they're able to purchase cannabis, but then also have what you've come to expect from Amazon, Target, where you can order online, pick up in the store, or have it delivered to you same day or next day, depending on what your service preference is. So really creating that omni-channel marketing situation. We are a publicly traded company. Our stock symbol is DRVD. And in the last 6 months, we've raised an additional $2 million in capital to be able to support California City and other applications we have been putting in. Next slide.
morning. I'm going to use the mic. My voice isn't quite as strong as Brian, so forgive me. And as well, my name is Chris Boudreau. Thank you again for the opportunity to present to the council and to the community. And we're very excited about the fact that, we have the chance to be here. So thank you. I put this team together based on experience I've had in cannabis over the last several years. I was prior a banking executive. I was the number 2 guy in lending in a bank. And the changing financial environment in 2008, I left banking kind of predicting what I thought might be a change in cannabis. Not really a cannabis consumer myself, but I've seen what the community seems to support and the opportunity in that for both communities and medical patients, and decided to pivot into cannabis. Started with a delivery service in the Prop 215 and SB 420 market, and currently have a licensed store in San Diego. I have part of a licensed distribution company that I founded. I have part of a licensed delivery company that I founded that operates in San Diego, Oakland, and is getting ready to reopen under a license in Sacramento. So fortunate to have had some great experience in the cannabis industry with a good array of diversification. I brought in Brian, who's been a successful tech executive and actually has some fantastic military experience. He was running startup division for a multi-billion-dollar tech computer company where he was running basically this new startup program for them. He's also an active major in the reserves and formerly ran a Marine sniper team. I also brought in some partners that have great ties to the community. There are major owners in this project, and brought them in based on a relationship I've had with them for a few years, and their knowledge of the community and ability to help us tie in the right way. Next slide, please. So we believe our location is ideal. We picked it carefully among a number of sites because what you have, even noted earlier in this meeting today, was that you have some locations that can present security concerns. Certainly there is concerns that need to be noted around cannabis stores, just like banks or liquor stores. It's something that it serves the community well, but there are security concerns that need to be addressed properly. We're not too far outside of town so that we can serve the constituents of the town well, but we're also a little bit removed so that we're not near schools or parks. Next slide, please. So we already have a building. The building is built. We already have plans prepared. We believe we could have the store up and running in terms of, I should say, the build out and the inventory set within 1 to 2 months. And we believe that we could have the state license within an additional 1 to 2 months. So we believe we could actually have the store operational within 2 to 4 months to serve the community. These are actually some pictures of my store in San Diego. One of the things that I'd like to note is that I know there were some security concerns that were addressed or that were asked earlier, and I think it's important to note that one of the things that we'll look at is building a store that I think serves the community well and presents well as a steward for the community, as an example of what a nice store should look like. But I think in addition to that, set a security standard. And so we're going to look at and better assess exactly how we should set up the store as we finalize the plans. But one thing that I can bring to the table that's a little unique is in my San Diego store, we actually built bulletproof glass all the way around the store. We have 2 security guards at all times. They have 2 armed guards, I should say. They have wands to make sure that we don't have anybody coming in or leaving the store with any kind of weapons. And we have bulletproof man trap, if you guys are familiar with those, so that somebody has to go in through the double series of doors just to really add that additional layer of protection. And the biggest point, I think, about security isn't that you're always going to outsmart the criminal. The point is to dissuade them and make them feel like they should go to other communities where there's a better opportunity. Next slide, please.
So talking about our business plan, additionally, the initial investment that we have, because we have an existing building, existing location, we have set aside $350,000 for upfront costs to be able to get up and running. Our long-term goal for the first year is right around $6 million in retail plus delivery revenue. So we have a really solid business plan that's going to generate quite a lot of tax income for the city. Additionally, as I talked about earlier, ours is really about the commitment to the community. We believe that we want to be a part of the community. We really want to focus on hiring local workers that are here in California City. So per our pro forma, we have templated for 15 plus full-time new hires that will be working both at retail and the delivery operations that we have. Additionally, we have a really robust community benefit plan where we're really involved in the community and really supporting the local organizations that are here. Finally, one of the things that's really important to us is the low environmental impact with ours. So because it's an existing building, there's no new construction. It's just interior modifications that we'll have. And then we adhere to a zero waste plan where we try and recycle and reuse as much as possible within the stores. Additionally, what we talk about is that there's a lot of concern about opening up a retail dispensary, and we want to make sure that the community is really comfortable about it. And so we've set aside a 4-step plan to really try and introduce ourselves, our store to the community, and making sure that every resident has their questions answered, that they have a chance to talk with us, the managers of the store, and really know if they have any future problems, who they can go to. So the first step is scheduling the open house, letting them know that hopefully we've won the permit today, going through and talking about what our plans are, what the store is going to look like, and getting community feedback on what that looks like. The second one is door-to-door canvassing, so anybody that didn't go to the open house would get a slip on their door saying, hey, this is opening. If you ever have any questions, here's a number you can call. We're here to support you. Please let us know if there's anything we can do if you have any questions. Finally, we talked about providing the abundant security. I think that's been mentioned several times, and we have a really good, robust plan in place for that. And then finally, an open door policy. So it has to be a constant communication between us as the owners and managers, use city council, as well as the community for any concerns that arise out of it, any future things we might need to adjust or change. I think that's the biggest thing, is that having the open communication between us back and forth, making sure that we provide a valuable asset for the city.
So as far as labor goes, just in line with what we've seen from some of the other people, we're committed to starting with 150% of minimum wage at the living wage. Obviously, there are going to be increases, and I think at some point the mathematics get challenging with that. But what we're going to do is assess as the rates change and make sure that we're providing a good, solid living wage. We also have in our plans to offer medical and dental, and offer a vacation plan as well as days off for community service events, and paternal and maternal leave. Next slide, please. So as far as safety and security, I kind of addressed some of it earlier. I am not a safety expert, so let me be fair with that. But what we do have is we have a really comprehensive team for security. Our team is led by one of our partners who actually has one of the top security companies in the community. And he helps guide and shape our plans based on the needs. But we also have other security consultants who are former police officers and a former fire marshal. As far as the product procurement, we just make sure that everything that comes in is tested, is properly compliant, and safe for consumption. And then, of course, we have SOPs in place to help track and manage all of that. In addition to using one of the largest track and trace systems in cannabis, which is in 4 states right now. Next slide, please. So as far as compliance, it is really kind of a cornerstone of what we do. You know, I think a lot of the concerns that I've heard so far addressed in the questions by council really kind of rely on like management practices and security practices. And the best way for all of that, again, is really kind of in preventative build, making sure that you have a good understanding of the risks, the concerns, and designing plans and building SOPs so that you have procedures and infrastructure in place to help to prevent and divert anybody who is would-be criminal. But of course, that being said, we follow all of the state's compliance standards. We use security cameras in the building, seed-to-sale tracking systems, make sure that we're adhering to the rules for buying product and the standards set. The state has actually set, the BCC set some very good standards for how product is managed through the supply chain, and so that by the time it comes to the retailer, if the retailer is doing their job, it's a very safe product, and we will, of course, adhere to that. Next slide, please. So we also have a non-storefront retail application. It seems like the council is amenable to letting us present on both at the same time, just for everybody's benefits. You don't have to listen to some of the redundant pieces. So next slide, please. So we have, I've actually developed a delivery service that I've been working with. Again, that I'd mentioned, it's licensed in San Diego, Oakland, soon to be Sacramento as well. It's a company that I'd sold, but in that company, we built some great regional operations, and over time, in my experience in delivery, I've formed Driven to really support a much larger framework of delivery. We think there's significant opportunity there economically, and it brings something unique to the community. And I think one of the things that we can bring unique to the community is that you're going to have a number of people applying for store operations. We intend to use this location for a much broader delivery range, and we'll do that with a much more compliant delivery service. We actually have, as far as we know, we're the only ones in the industry that have a 23-point training and certification program of our own. We have cameras in the cars, and then we meet the state guidelines for the other needs, keeping the product secured in the trunk, keeping it. We actually have refrigerators hardwired into the cars, little mini refrigerated storage units. So we go way above and beyond. We're actually looking to open in Nevada and Oregon in the next 2 months as well, and have a much better understanding and a much broader purview of what we're trying to do. Next slide, please. And then if you want to jump in on any of this, but
So what we're using this California City location for, in addition to servicing the residents of California City, it's also to service the surrounding areas as well with the delivery license. So our business model is kind of two-part. In addition to the retail, we also provide same-day and next-day delivery to the residents of the surrounding cities. Based upon the location here, it's really advantageous for us. We have our Northern California and Southern California fulfillment center. This would actually allow us to create a Central Valley fulfillment center where we'd be able to deliver to residents of Bakersfield and for as far south as Burbank, Santa Clarita, Northern LA, and those different areas. So what this really means for the city is just with all the experience that we have, plus the licensed retail experience, plus the delivery to the surrounding areas, it's not just a retail center for the city in terms of tax revenue, it's additional tax revenue from the entire operation that we bring to California City.
and additional jobs, because our expanded delivery market requires additional support from additional drivers. So we think we bring something unique to the community in being able to serve a much broader audience.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask you a real quick question?
Absolutely.
With respect to the tax revenue, because you have a network, I think it's really important that the tax revenue from any deliveries that would be going out of this facility would be taxed for the city and not because you have a network.
Absolutely.
Can you address that?
Absolutely. So that one's pretty easy, actually. So state law mandates per VCC regs that essentially we have to have a permit and a corporation here for California City. So in a very simple way, it's kind of siloed here. So everything that we would do from the California City location would be attributed to the P&L or the income statement, and of course the tax revenue for the city from this location. So the state helps make it simple in that way. Any other questions? Sir, I see the finger.
All righty.
In
your application, it was something a little unique in there, in that there was an implication. I believe that you're participants for only 2 years.
We have a structure set up with our partner that will be reassessed after 2 years. We're in an industry, just being fair, we're in an industry that's incredibly dynamic. It's evolving in a very big way, very quickly. And so 2 years is a lifetime in cannabis right now. If you think back, in a very simple way for you, think back 2 years ago and think about maybe the position of the city and how some of these things were viewed. This is moving so quickly that our partnership is set up in a way for kind of a reevaluation in 2 years.
So in essence, right now you're providing a professional framework for the business, and then at the end of the 2-year period, it could be a corporate buyout, or it could evolve into something else. Is all you're
Exactly.
saying. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. It just looked funny when I read it in the packet. So
I definitely understand. Part of that, by the way, does play into the fact that we're a public company, and so we have some interesting rules that exist when you're at the public level, and so we need to set certain things up so that we can reassess at certain intervals. Were there any other questions? Thank you so much for your time.
Number 6, coming up will be quality cannabis.
Everybody else to see that, I believe.
This is who?
Quality cannabis.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to first pass out a letter of recommendation.
If you could give it to City Clerk, please.
Oh, mine, I have an empty, oh, no, there it is. Okay, this is quality, okay, airport.
Ladies and gentlemen of Cal City. I would like to begin by introducing my family. The reason I'm introducing my family is because that's what you would be getting. We are Eastern Kern County residents. We currently own 2 medical marijuana storefronts that are legal in Kern County, which we all know Kern County has slated us to close on the 24th. But let me introduce you to my family. First, my family, please stand up. This is the Espandola family, Veronica and my brother. Veronica's a preschool teacher over at Boron Preschool. My sister-in-law, Dominique, she's currently in RN school. She'll be finishing RN this year. My nephew, Mikey, just finished the U.S. Army, and his wife is also going to finish up her RN. Victoria, she's one of our principals, and my mom, they specialize in quality of care. Our patients who are at end of life and need that special attention. And Vito's been our bud tender for 10 years, just about. We've been in business for 10 years. We've been inside Ridgecrest and in Rosemont, and we plan to move over all of that to here at Cal City. So what would we be moving? What does it consist of? Right now, we have a customer base of 10,000 patients. These are patients from Lone Pine, Mammoth, Ridgecrest, Barstow, California City, Antelope Valley. And we're going to be bringing that current revenue stream of these 2 shops, which are slated to close, of $190,000 a month straight here to Cal City. This is going to be an instant turnaround. Our location has electricity, it has water, so there has electricity and water, and we're ready to start operation. We'll be up before most other people will be able to get up because we've already been through this already. We know Edison, we know the local rules and laws, and we know that, for instance, Cal Interest Holdings doesn't have electricity, and they won't get electricity for 18 months. So there's no way they could be open in 6 months. That doesn't seem realistic, especially according to Edison. I'd like to hand this over to my brother. This is my brother Mike, and he's going to talk about financials and a few other things.
All right, my name is Mike Esmeralda. Let me start off with the location. For some reason in the packet it got a little confusing because we want to start off at point A because we got at Luchi, and we already started site plans, conditional use permits. I got a couple of these I want to pass out to you guys. I don't have one for everybody, but I have 4. That's from the contractor that can get us up and built at that new location within 6 months after all permits are cleared. And that's a local Eastern Kern County builder that's already building here in the city. He's building our 15,000 facility, which we're more than halfway done. Our 5,000 is already ready, up and running. He's also doing a 2-story off Noreya. So he knows what he's going to run into. We know we've been through this through all these little permits and little squirrels and turtles and stuff we have to go through. So we'd already jumped these loops. Okay. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is the financials. Our financials are well, we've been in the business for 10 years, so you could only imagine. We bring in over 190 a month, so you could only imagine. A lot of this is cash taxed. We are good with the IRS. Everything is taxed. Our cash is, because this kind of business, everybody's going to run through it. Where you're going to have votes in the bank. You can't deposit in the bank, but you could put votes in the bank. Okay, so that's where we're coming at. We got over 450,000 in the bank. I don't want to say how much cash we got in the votes, but it's way enough to cover all this. And we own the property, 5 acres with 15,000 square foot building put up of cannabis industry property. We own that lot outright, that one off the freeway. We own 3 houses outright paid off. So money's not going to be an issue for us to get this done. This is what we lived for, and this is basically what we've been waiting for. When Cal City opened this, I was probably one of the first ones out here buying property. I bought a couple of properties, and I was telling the realtor, this thing's going to flip. Everything's going to go crazy out here. I was out here because I missed Alanto. I'm in the middle. I'm in Boron. So I missed Alanto. I seen everything happen out there. I seen everything happen in Desert Hot Springs. And when I seen it in the newspaper here, I started buying stuff. My wife, we would have bought a lot more, but it was kind of risky. You know, you never know what's going to happen, if everything was going to pass or not. So we did what we did. We love this industry. We want to keep going. We want to bring our values to you guys. What we know, what we got, to Cal City.
All right, so the next thing we want to address is safety and security. That's a main concern. I would be concerned about that as well. Through our 10 years in the industry, I found that along with the professional security team, and I'll get to that, it's getting to know the people in your neighborhood, the people around you, getting to know who's there. And when you go out and you talk to them, you get to know who the actual bad players are, what the concerns are of the neighborhood, and you're able to address these problems or these issues. Our security team is formed as former LAPD, who has started his own security team. It's called Blue Shield, and he specializes only in the cannabis industry. We chose him because of his experience. Being a former LAPD, he had a lot of experience in dealing with rough people. And being in Rosemont, we were like, we want the best. And he's proven to be the best. He owns Blue Shield Security. He's in charge of our security, as well as we have the basic, more than the basic state standards. Everybody's going to have the cameras. Everybody's going to have monitored entry, monitored exits, It's all in our business plan. But above that, just having that rapport with the neighborhood and having a good rapport with our peace officers, it makes a big deal. And that brings me back to the letter I gave you guys. I'm going to read it out loud for the people who are out here. This is the deputy that patrols our area, also in Rosemont and also in Boron. He says, to whom it may concern, the Espandola family is well known to many in Boron community. In addition to the parents, John and Sylvia, 4 of the adult children live in the area and have raised their families here. They have been active members of the business community, not only in Boron, but in other areas of East Kern. One daughter-in-law works as a teacher in the preschool. The other members of the family have been positive participants in school community activities, including community cleanup for the community. The family currently operates Espandola Family Grill. I also own a restaurant in Boron. It's called Espandola Family Grill, where the locals and visitors are equally made to feel welcome. The oldest son, Anthony, has been active and much appreciated member of the Boron Chamber of Commerce, and recently voted president by the board of directors. I forgot to mention I'm the president of the Boron Chamber of Commerce as well. In the course of my duties, I have visited the storefront in Rosemont and can testify to the professionalism, cleanliness, and above standard operations of the current medical cannabis location. And that's our location in Rosemont. I have had many conversations with the members of the family, especially Anthony, and have no hesitations in giving endorsement of them and good neighbor community boosters and reputable business owners. And this is from our local deputy sheriff, and he's the local community leader as well. And I like I said, we work well with our law enforcement. We've had an issue before where we helped him catch a guy who was running around with a shotgun in his pants. This was in Rosemont. We were glad to help. So let me skip past that, safety and security. Or I hope I address safety and security. Labor and employment. Well, we're all from East Kern. We already employ 3 people to live here in Cal City. At my restaurant in Boron, I have another employee who comes out there and just details cars. He lives here in Cal City. He's a vet. We're part of this community. And by giving us a place here, it would just be extending the family. We grow up here. Our kids grew up next to your kids. Our kids are out here playing baseball, playing youth football. My nieces did cheer here with that cheer group, Sapphires, forever. And unfortunately, that young lady got a better opportunity and left. But they loved it here. We used to spend so much time here. This is our sister city. And by giving us the opportunity to show you what our family love is, we'll be able to share what we do in Boron here in Cal City. Saying all that, we will implement a hire Cal City first. We'll train locals rather than outsourcing specialty jobs. There's little jobs sometimes in the cannabis industry that, certain people know how to do. We'd rather train people locally. We're going to encourage our employees to relocate from their East Kern residence to Cal City. It's not a very far drive. Some people just rent. We provide an adequate living wage, and we're at the $18 an hour to start range. We will conduct a contract local contractors for any buildings and upgrades. We do that anyway. Even to our homes, I have to call somebody from Cal City to come fix my air conditioning. So it kind of goes hand in hand with having this sister city. With the storefront and our storefront and our current manufacturing, cultivation, and distribution permits, we're able to train employees in most aspects of the cannabis industry, creating job security in this growth market. We also want to implement a brand called California City Grown. Doing that will ensure a legacy of cannabis jobs here in Cal City, and that would be our promise for labor and employment. Product safety is another big one. Product safety, regulations have caught up pretty much with product safety. Yeah, stuff has to be clean. Stuff is monitored a lot more. It's a lot better than what it used to be. What we would bring in addition to that would be our 10 years of experience here in our local area. We'll stick by our code, family helping families. And that's what we have been, and that's what we will always do. Cannabis has always been medicinal in our family. We help people get off opiates, dealing with depression, PTSD, pain management, chronic life-ending ailments. And when we say product safety, we're there for them. Understanding your product is ensuring that you're giving them a safe way to find relief. Giving somebody a sativa who might be bipolar is a bad idea. You don't want to give somebody with high anxiety something that's going to make them a little more edgy. So having product knowledge, and that product knowledge only comes with 10 years of sitting behind a counter and somebody coming up and saying, you asking them, what's your job? What do you do? What do you expect to get out of marijuana? What are your expectations? What are your fears? What are your hopes that this is going to help? And we address all these issues, and having that family-to-family conversation, that I believe is part of product safety, and we're well versed and well experienced in that. Everything else it's pretty much in our packet. We cover the basics of everything. We just wanted to say above and beyond, we're here, we're Kern County residents, we're Eastern Kern County residents, even closer, and we would love the opportunity to open a storefront for you guys here in Cal City. Any questions, guys? All right, guys, thank you.
Cal City Natural. Cal City Natural.
It's Raj Millian again. I'm going to move around a little bit, so my papers are falling off and carried with me. So previously I represented on the management team for Teal Farms. They were great for getting the people from the 14 off highway and people going through the city. But Cal City Natural, the unique thing about that, it's in the heart of the city right here, and it's catered more towards the people of the city. There is an illegal dispensary in the city that's been running for quite a number of years since I've been here. What I want to do is make a legal dispensary that serves the people, that knows the people. I've been here for the past couple of years, working with the people. Nobody knows, well, most of the people here don't live in the city or don't know the people the way I know. The seniors here, the veterans here. I'm the second vice at the American Legion. So I work with a lot of veterans. My goal is to help a lot of the veterans, the seniors, the people who need medicine in the city. The proposed location is right off Neuralia and Redwood. It's pretty central. I actually live down the street off of Redwood. So for me, it's really something that represents something that's local. There is a temporary facility that, if it works out, I would like that to be a permanent facility. Craig, if you can open up the other one. The one on Dogbane. So I have an alternate proposed location, which is the former firehouse, the old fire station on Dogbane and Commercial Avenue, which is down the street from the Emerald Bistro. So what you're looking at here is Cal City Boulevard. You know, this is Aspen Mall here. Go back one, Craig. So this is Aspen Mall here. And when you go down West Best Pizza, you see the Emerald Bistro. This is the Chamber of Commerce here. And so when you go down the street from Cal City Boulevard, you go past West Best Pizza, Emerald Bistro, and right there is the old fire station. So it's not directly on Cal City Boulevard. It's close to where the people live. It can service the people. It's in a commercial area. There are 2 new properties that have new commercial buildings right above that that are steel structures. If you can go to the next slide. So it is a current structure that is operational right now. It's being used for storage. We already have agreements in place from the 4 Cs. They're the ones who own the property currently. We have the funding, the resources to immediately go in and be in business within a month. So there's no long waiting time. This is a current standing structure. Currently, this is the structure standing in place right now. So it is a fully functional one with electricity, with the utilities right there. We plan to, in the future, upgrade that or build next to it something and eventually upgrade that building itself into a more modern building with solar to make it green. So there's more advanced pictures of the structure. Our goal with that is a storefront and delivery. We have vehicles already in place. I don't think anybody's done more legal deliveries in the city here than me at this point. I am talking about chicken and Mongolian, but I do deliveries. So hopefully we'll have really good delivery people here. But I have the experience to make sure that it's done right. This is the form from the state. This is the actual sales invoice shipping manifest the state provides or gives to as a guideline that you can use. So we already have things in place that it's going to make sure we're tracked and traced compatible. Everything's monitored. It's nobody that doesn't have the legal right, if they're not over 21 or they don't have a medical card, they're not going to receive something that's illegal. The qualifications of the principals are mainly going to be myself and a couple of team members here who are also former military, Air Force. My job in the military was emergency management, so I take pride in what I do in planning. I also have to deal with a lot of engineering and security. So as far as what we do and operate on a daily basis, it'll be run almost like a military operation. The financials, we have a pretty good investing team here. They're local investors. They live in Kern County. I myself, I've lived in California City for the past couple of years, and I'm also putting money into this. So we're going to make sure that this is off the ground and running. There's not going to be a financial issue or a burden. It's not going to be halfway standing and not moving. The neighborhood compatibility plan. Some of you know, I don't boast about it, but we do a lot for the community. the seniors, the veterans, a lot of the kids from the after-school program at the bistro to serving community members, seniors from Thanksgiving, Christmas, and so forth. So we already have a great team and family in place that serve the neighborhood, that live in the neighborhood, and we want to make sure that we're part of the community, that we understand the community. Safety and security, using my military background experience and my other partner there, who's in the Air Force veteran. He's actually law enforcement when he was in the Air Force, and he's definitely going to be a big part in our safety and security plan and make sure that we meet all the requirements or exceed them, not only with state guidelines, but also local police guidelines. The community benefits are tremendous when you have something so centrally located, yet it's not an eyesore. It's not on Cal City Boulevard saying, here's cannabis, here's cannabis. We'll have a sign that says our name, plenty of parking. It's off the boulevard, but it's centrally located. It helps the community members security-wise. It meets all the security requirements. It's fully fenced. We're going to upgrade the fencing, of course. And there's plenty of parking. And we can see who's coming, who's going. We'll have cameras in place, but we will also make sure we have our security guards in place and our security protocols. Our product safety is very important. I want to make sure that our customers, our clients, our family, they get clean organic products. A lot of people, they get cheap products which have pesticides and may do more harm to them than help them. So I want to make sure that we have organic products that truly help the people and not harm them. We're going to make sure that we get our products from organic farms. They meet requirements from the plants to be OMRI certified, which is organic, to the product handling and the final product to make sure it's free of pesticides and harmful products. Labor and employment, hopefully things go well, and we will be not only double minimum wage, but maybe $25 to $30 an hour or on salary. We will have one of the highest paid labor and employment force. We're going to hire locally. We already have local people that we employ, and we're going to continue hiring people locally. A lot of local enterprise, we are already involved in community programs, but we're going to have more businesses that we expand from this, besides other food places, other services, postal services and shipping services, printing, computers. Kids need a place where they can go print out their homework, where they can do some research. So we're going to provide all this. We're going to go into the community and do other businesses that we're already doing and expand into the needs that the actual community needs. Lastly, of course, we're veteran owned and operated. Over 50% of our work team will also be women or disabled in some way. Want to make sure and support people who maybe not get hired elsewhere, but we want to help them where they can. If they can be behind the counter and make some sales and help people, we're going to hire them. So we're going to be different from the rest, but we're going to be on point in what we do. We're local in the community, and that's very important that I want to emphasize. A lot of people are coming from other places, other cities. We don't have a lot of corporate money. We're local money. We're local citizens of Cal City. And we're going to continue hiring local citizens of Cal City. We're going to train them. We're going to teach them. And they're going to be prosperous. And we don't have to bring in outside people when we have so much people in the city that we can train. That's about it. Come on. So I just wanted to kind of add on that we're already contributing a lot of things in the community, from the clubs that are already existing, from the Four Cs, the Historical Society, from the American Legion. There's so many nonprofits here that we're already helping, we're already involved with. It's not something we have to start and figure out. So I just want to add that we are integrated into the community already, and we're going to further the future of Cal City, knowing and having a finger on the actual heartbeat of the community. Thank you. Any questions?
Any other questions? Thank you very much. Royal Pop. Oh, my head.
My partner took an inopportune time to go to the restroom, so.
Are we down to the? This is number 2. Oh, okay. Okay.
Apologize.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor, City Council members. My name is Jason Lee. Here with me is Ray Nicholas, and we're here to represent Royal Apothecary. Our fearless leader, David, unfortunately couldn't be here today due to a schedule conflict, but I believe he's watching through the video stream. So we just want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to present to you, and we've made a short slide presentation, and Ray is going to take over. Next slide, please.
Thank you. So we have, again, a short presentation. These are the 4 points we're going to hit, kind of who we are, where our proposed location is, why us, and then kind of the construction progress and renderings that we have for this project. All right, so our ownership and management group consists of 7 people, pretty much family owned here. David and Renee Chin, my wife, Jason Lee, his wife Grace, myself, Ray, my wife Marley, and then Chuck Baker, our financial consultant and software engineer. Between us all, we have a very diverse background, social equity. It's a 51% woman-owned business. We have, as far as our experiences, the Kims own a successful Orange County premium golf shop. So they have a lot of experience in retail and managing a small business.
36 years in business in Orange County.
That's correct. I myself work for one of the largest automotive parts supplier in the world as a product manager, managing over $50 to $60 million product line. So understanding of operations and product life cycle. You know, again, cannabis it's just another product, it's a commodity, so you got to treat it that same way. I can bring a lot of experience there. Financial consulting, also very important for our projects. We've raised well over $1 million. We have lots of money waiting as we progress through some of our projects that we have going with Cal City already. David Kim, again, our CEO of our umbrella. He's also a professional ballet dancer in the arts and does a lot of entrepreneurial things. And so his leadership through all this has been instrumental in getting us to where we are today. And then my wife is in the insurance industry. So there's a lot of benefits to having someone experienced in that background as well. So basically our group, we've already attained a lot of licenses through California City. This will be kind of the topper for us if we can So we're going for full integration. From the very first phase of your licensing issue, we were able to get a cultivation license and a manufacturing license under TMP Unlimited. And then more recently under RMG Distribution, we got a distribution license under our RMG LLC. And then now we're going for the dispensary, retail, and delivery under Royal Apothecary. So this is full integration, and obviously what that means is lower cost, lower sell price, more competitive, which help us sell more product. So, location, as far as location, we are right on Morelia and Underwood, just south of here, a little southwest of here on a 1.61 acre land. It's green zone M1 light industrial. We own that property outright. And that's what it looked like when we first bought it. And we already have tremendous progress on that, and we'll get into that a little bit as we move forward. Okay, so this is kind of our main slide. Everyone here has fantastic business plans, revenue projections, compliance, security. I think we all have really good plans. I think we scored number 2, so we know in our business plan we have a lot of detail that covers everything that we're going to do. We're going to be compliant and everything like that. We're going to have securities as compliant with state and local. We have a lot of SOPs in place already from our state licensing that we've already submitted to the state for SOPs. So things like security, as one person mentioned already, we're not looking to go guns blazing with people. Deterrence is exactly what it is. So we'll have 24-hour surveillance. We'll have an on-guard security guard on site. But really, it's about deterrence. And one of the things we'll have is active trainer, active shooter training, things like that. We're not looking to go into a fight. It comes, you get the product, that's fine. It's more about safety, but and deterrence. And we'll take that approach. But we are, so what I wanted to do more so than talk about all those details is focus about who we are and what kind of progress we've made already here, and the execution of all of that. So starting off with number 1, we're a local enterprise. We've already 2 years ago, we purchased a residential home. We've been living in and out of that as we go through our construction. Jason's here 3-4 times a week.
Since our groundbreaking, I've actually spent more time up here than with my family in Orange County. And Mr. Mike Riding, Jane's husband, has dubbed me the desert rat because I've been spending so much time out here. I'm not this dark, but I have become this dark because of the time that I spent. And my family, my mother-in-law about 20 years ago purchased our first property in Cal City, so we've been vested in this town for a very long time. And when we found out about the cannabis opportunity, we too purchased other properly zoned properties so that we can partake in this adventure.
Yeah, so as Jason was saying, aside from the parcel that we're building on, they also own 8 other parcels that they've owned since the early 2000s. So they've been here, the Kims have been here a really long time, paying taxes for already a long time on their properties. So we definitely are a local enterprise. Credibility. We already have 5 other cannabis licenses in Cal City. As you guys know, those first applications, there were a lot of promises made and nobody moved forward. Everyone kind of flamed out. We are one of the ones that kept going. And we were able to succeed and break ground, I believe, first out of all those first licenses. And I think many of you seen the progress that we've made on Morelia and Underwood. And we'll show some of those images and that progress and where we are today and when we expect to open. That kind of leads right into quick to market. So we want to take advantage of our existing phase 1 building that we're doing right now, 5,000 square foot facility. We're looking to build a campus. We have a 3.22, 2 acres, 2 lots together that combine to make 3.22 acres. And eventually the storefront will be put on one side, the north lot. But to get revenue going, delivery, retail, We want to be able to operate out of the existing Phase 1 building that's going to be completed this summer. So we'll work closely with the city on how to achieve that as far as security-wise, safety-wise. We want to make sure that it's all in compliance if we are temporarily running that storefront out of it. But definitely the delivery service. We're going to be able to, with our distribution and everything, house our product there and deliver out of there, and hopefully temporarily retail as well. And then as far as, like I said, as far as compliance, we're up to date on all of our city and state permits. We're committed to all the medical and recreational city and state regulations. Like I said, with our manufacturer, we've already successfully submitted our SOPs to the state. They were accepted. We're moving forward, and our building's almost done. Our certificate of occupancy is right around the corner, and we'll be ready to start. So from there, we just wanted to go to the next couple slides. Oh, community benefits. So obviously, you want to know how does the city benefit, of course, from the revenue, the tax revenue. That's a given. We all have $1 million projections, so we don't really know too much into that. But we're looking to give 1% of our profits, or 10,000, whichever is greater, to the Parks and Rec Department to promote California City. We want to do an annual food drive, and then, of course, as far as hiring, we want to hire local people, of course. Any local businesses, if we're doing any kind of outsourcing. I know that we're looking to outsource our security, things like that. We're still vetting, going through that process. There's a lot of companies to kind of vet and go through. Everyone's got good bids and stuff like that. So we haven't made full commitments, but we're going through that vetting process because we want to make sure it's the right company.
And as for hiring within the city, we've already hired one person. She's here. Ms. Jeannie O'Laughlin has recently joined our team. She's going to be responsible for various admin duties. And she has offered, I don't know if I can mention this, as part of the benefits package, free tax services to low-income residents of the city. That's part of our program. So, anything else?
And then from here, we just kind of wanted to show you our progress. So here, this was the Nerea Underwood land when it was just a vision at that time. And
this was about 18 months ago. We were deciding and going through the application.
June of last year, we broke ground, but this is the land, the 2 parcels that we own, and it goes up a little over 3 acres. This is the site plan for both of those lots. So you can see here, this is originally where we had the retail portion of the approximately 2,000 square foot facility. And then our Phase 1 building right here, it's hard to see my pointer with the purple. That's what we've been working on the last year. Go to the next slide. This is just more of a close-up of where this is a rendering of the campus that we're looking to build. So the storefront that you were just looking at circled is right there. And then the Phase 1 building is right here. Currently, so the whole idea of our campus is to scale out through phases. Obviously, we want to get positive revenue and then invest it back in the business. And then as we get positive revenue, we already know there's a lot more investment money that's out there that's already kind of really made to see where we go next. Next slide. So here's again a Phase 1 building that we're rendering, and then this is what it looks like today as of right now. So we're very close to completion. We're just kind of working on the interior and some of those things, kind of addressing some of the electrical challenges that we've had. We're already, Edison isn't ready to provide us power just yet, but we're already in talks and in design for a proprietary solar grid, along with a generator that's going to give us enough power to do our manufacturing out of this facility for the next few years. And then when Edison finally comes in, no problem, we'll connect to the grid. Both of those options, as far as power goes, we're going to be totally green to start, and it's not an issue as far as power goes in this area for us.
Our ultimate goal is to be off-grid completely and not have to rely on SoCal Edison. Even if power was available, if we can do without them, we're going to do without them.
So then the next couple slides are just some pictures of our progress of what we've done over the last year.
9 months?
Yeah,
9 months.
9 months. Jason's been our general, basically acting as our kind of like our GC overseeing everything while this is happening. That's our current state right there. Oh, so retail space. So we're kind of in our design phase for the storefront. We don't have exact things, but we definitely understand what we want out of it. We want a green, earthy, kind of rustic, modern feel to it. It's not going to be like a head shop with high guys and things like that. So that's kind of the look and feel we're going with that. Next slide. So that kind of just gives you the type of layout we're going to have. And then as far as this delivery, we really feel that delivery is a big opportunity here with all the surrounding areas. It's such a fantastic location. I think that's why everyone's here as far as straddles, Fresno, Bakersfield, Barstow, Lancaster area. It's really a fantastic location in a very short distance from LA. But we understand that our drivers are really an extension of the retail. That they really represent. The driver really represents the company, and we want them to be able to kind of give a retail type of experience. So we want them to be very versed in our products, so that when they do great deliveries, that they can basically provide a lot of information. And then of course we're going to do all the things like GPS tracking, locked trunks, and all those things that you would expect out of a delivery service. But we also want it to be safe, and they feel we'll have a dispatcher at our retail or wherever we decide that dispatcher will be, that if they don't feel comfortable with the situation they're in, we're not telling them they have to go and do that. They can get options from our dispatcher to abort. Not a big deal. Safety is the most important. And we want to emphasize that these delivery people are going to be really integral to the business. They're not just delivery people. They are the face of our company. And it's a great opportunity. They're versed in being able to explain the product and maybe your sales and upgrades.
Yeah, so Mr. Mayor and council members, I'd just like to close with this. We want to reiterate that we've been vested in this community for a very long time, and we want to succeed, and we want to see the city succeed. And we were here for the very first round of licenses that were awarded, and like Ray mentioned, a lot of people have come and gone. And I remember some made some very grand promises. But we have persevered. We've found solutions to some very difficult challenges, and we've overcome them. So we are looking to acquire this dispensary license that's going to be the final piece to the puzzle of our full vertical integration. And we're asking you, the city council members, to continue your support. Mr. Mayor, you spoke at our groundbreaking in support of us. You were a council member at the time. And so did Mr. Stockwell. And we're not here today without your support. So we ask you for that and your faith in our organization to do what we say we're going to do. So we thank you for that opportunity.
Any questions?
Okay. How do you do green, earthy, rustic, and modern all at once? I don't know how you do that.
That's all him.
But it's okay. Have there been some security issues at your building already?
No, very fortunately, we have not had any
There's
security
nothing
issues.
that's been going on? Because I thought I'd heard that through the grapevine.
No, there was an issue where batteries were being stolen out of the heavy equipment. So I believe it's one of the adjacent potential dispensary locations. When they were grading, they had actually asked us to store their equipment on our lot because we had fencing. so that their equipment wouldn't be tampered with. But yeah, thank you.
I think our biggest problem has been crows.
Yes, yes, because we're next to the waste management.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. The last one will be SFV Caregivers.
Where are these guys located? Okay, all right. Yeah, yeah.
Well, I'll start talking while he pulls it up. Good afternoon. We are SFV Caregivers, and our team is Jason Bashan, who is the principal owner of the business. He's a Kern County resident, an Army veteran, and he owned one of the 28 stores in Kern County that got a shutdown letter and voluntarily shut down in advance. Julie Lee is our primary investor, so we're veteran-owned and female-financed as a company. And she is a entrepreneur and investor who has, I believe, 5 different cannabis holdings at this point and focuses on female minority-run businesses. And Mo Sadamonte has been a longtime operator in cannabis since 2007. So, do you have our SFV Caregivers? I gave her. There's a. And actually, if you don't mind passing out the brochures to the council, thank you. Well, I'll start talking while they pull it up. It's under SFE Caregivers. Experience is one of the primary things that differentiates our company. We've been in business since 2007 in Los Angeles in pre-ICO licensed dispensaries. So we've been legal and licensed. No, it's SFE. Okay, we've been legal and licensed since 2007, as I said. Let's see. An advantage with us are taxes coming across our vertically integrated structure. We have 5 licenses currently in. Oh, great! If you can go to the second slide, please. We have 5 licenses already in your city. Our building is an existing building. It will be less than 90 days for us to finish construction and be operational. We have some permitting already back from your city at this point. Because we are vertically integrated, we are looking to create 15 jobs with our dispensary and 35 jobs with our cultivation, manufacturing, and distribution business. So that'll be 50 living wage jobs. Integrated security, from seed through retail sale across our location. For us, we believe having a campus can be a very secure environment because you can have a fencing around it. It creates a safe place. Let's see. And also we're located far from Main Street, schools, churches, and residential. So we believe being in an isolated area can be beneficial. It's not an impact on the rest of the city. Next slide, please. As I said, our benefits to California City. Speed to market, 90 days of construction as we have an existing building. Back please. The revenue from vertical integration. Because we have cultivation, we have manufacturing, and we have distribution in the city, all taxes will stay in your city, in Cal City. So the entire chain of our business will be taxed here, employed here, and that money will remain in your city. As I said, vertical integration, we already have 5 licenses in your city. We were one of the first applicants. And then, as we said, a living wage, 50 jobs created, and then obviously working with best practices. Next slide, please. Here's a map of our location just to let you know where we are. Yep. So next slide, please. And this is a picture of our existing building. As I say, it's not the most beautiful thing in the world, but we've already started planning on it, and so it will be quick to turn around, open up, and operate, which will allow us to pay taxes to you, sooner. Next slide, please. Here's the general plan for our building and development. We don't have to change a whole lot in the building to get open, so just want to see that we already have plans in with you. And the next slide. Just to see what it looks like in this interior, this is BART Collective, which is a 2007 pre-ICO in Los Angeles. This is our one of our dispensaries inside on a typical day. And you can go to the next slide. And this is another one of our dispensaries up in Somar, California. It has a little bit of a different look, but just to give you an idea of how we build out and what our stores will look like upon operation. And next slide, please. So we're compliant. I just gave kind of a list of like the progress, in the bills that I've gone across. We're obviously going to be compliant with all state and city initiatives, rules, and the ordinance itself. Next page. Next slide, please. Again, these are pictures of the 5 licenses, just in case you weren't convinced yet. We're looking for a retail license with delivery to accommodate and go along with our other licenses we already have. We look to service local consumers. We also think the retired Air Force servicemen and women are a great demographic as well. And then also for delivery, there's a lot of ADA patients who aren't able to drive. You also are in an urban area, so it's a little bit more difficult for some people to reach it, so I think delivery is important. Next slide. State-of-the-art operations. Legal and compliance, biosecurity measures, product quality, utilities, and security and waste management are things that I'll talk about in the next section. So delivery, we operate a current delivery business right now in Los Angeles in conjunction with Grasp. We've been operating it out of our pre-ICO location. It's given us a chance to learn a lot about security. What we've been playing with is an idea of using a larger van, a Sprinter van, which would allow us to have a safe inside of the van to create increased security. We haven't had an issue with robbery personally, but we know there have been some issues. So then again, what we talk about, lock boxes, two-way radios, access for patients, delivery to immediate surrounding cities will increase our sales, and then technology, et cetera. So next slide, please. So basically, go back to our experience. There was a question brought up with you guys. There was a concern about operating a retail store next to manufacturing and distribution. Both of our facilities right now in Los Angeles, they have manufacturing next to retail, and then in Somar, we have cultivation and distribution. We haven't had any issues at all with security. The city of Los Angeles approved us to operate that way, and they believe the same thing. Keeping taxes internal to the city is a beneficial process, so we believe that this can be handled. With security, I think it's also beneficial having the ability to bring in multiple armed security guards throughout the day and have 24/7 security with cameras. Next page, please. So a little bit, we talked a little bit before. I can let Mo talk about himself a little bit. Okay, great. I know it's running low on time, so I'm kind of trying to go fast for you guys. I see people yawning up there. So
you're doing fine.
Okay, cool. Oh yeah.
That's a live picture of one of the shops that you guys sell, so we can monitor anywhere from the back. So the cameras that are 1080p.
Mike, please. Michael.
Oh, here.
Sorry. Yeah, the cameras are IP cameras. They support 90 days, even more. So as I said, we can monitor the shop from all over the planet. Okay, so, and we can also share that with police chief, of course, if you want to have access to that. Okay, so.
They're infrared 1080p?
Yes.
Okay.
32 frames per second.
Yeah. And back to experience, I think that's one of our primary differentiators. Mo's been operating since 2007. We've been licensed and legal since 2007, not operating under a 215 exemption. We've been operating in a license capacity in the city. And Mo sits on multiple licenses in Los Angeles right now. Go ahead.
But yeah, no.
Okay, great. And then I want to talk about Julie Lay. I talked a little bit about her as an entrepreneur. She's our primary investor in this company. And she sits on the board of several other cannabis companies. Again, Eagle Rock, which actually just sold since 2007. JJ Meadows and Stony Point since 2007. And then recently, I think Moval Nourish in Moreno Valley. and PTRE management in San Bernardino. Those are both very competitive cities and competitive licenses, especially San Bernardino. So I think that the cities chose us as a operator because of the kind of the diversity of our team and our long experience. And then Jason, we talk about, Jason is a Kern County resident. He is a veteran, as I talked about. He's actually 80% owner of this license, and he operated a, 75%, I'm sorry. And he operated a compliant Kern County dispensary that recently shut down. Let's see, next slide. Oh, sorry. Next slide, please. And next slide. Okay, so we talked a little bit about, you want to talk about your experience a little bit more? No, okay, great. All right, I'll keep going. All right. Okay. Yeah, so we talked about Mo, we talked about Julia. Next slide, please. So next slide. Local enterprise and initiatives. What we talked about here is jobs stay here and in the center of everything that we do. You know, it's important that we create jobs that are local to the community, use local suppliers, local community outreach, local tax dollars. As we talk about our vertical integration, we'll keep all the taxes here in the city, and local management. Let's see, next slide, please. So we talked about that. We want at least 60% of our workers to be local hires. I'm not sure, but I thought your ordinance said that you need to have 200% of minimum wage as the living wage. So that's what we have down in our plans. And a Bump It Up program. We do a lot of job training across our dispensaries. We've sent people to Oaksterdam to get better training. We have seminars on learning to use our POS systems, learning to do our genetics programs, and this allows workers to get better trained, and so they can be paid higher. We also do job placement, and we've done some job fairs as well as other applicants have here, and we've seen great benefit from them. Next slide, please. Community benefits. Community outreach program. Giving back to California City is a very important thing. So we have a program right now where we donate, we give a 10% discount to veterans, and at our Beverly Hills store, we actually are next door to Cedars-Sinai, and we formed a joint venture with that hospital to donate to cancer, autism patients, and hospice patients. So we actually donated medicine to them when it was legal to do that. We subsequently changed that to a discount program with the California law, but we've reached out to some of the local medical facilities in this area and are trying to set up the same process here. In addition, we've looked into some after-school programs and some other charities that we can donate our proceeds to. And we've also been talking to the city about a way, I don't know if you have a general fund. We're always careful about making a commitment financially to the city, not understanding what your general fund and taxes are, but we've committed a percentage of our net to be donated to an appropriate place in the city for a general fund to be put to where they see best. Let's see, community outreach program. So we have outreach officer in our company. They give their name, telephone number, and email to the city, and they provide 24/7 access to anyone in the neighborhood that might have any complaint about the shop. Let's see. They also will attend all the meetings in the city related to cannabis, and let's see. Also work with the youth education and educational institutions in our area to make sure that we're staying in good compliance with our neighborhood. Let's see, next slide, please. Next slide. Green print model. We are a single point of contact for the industry. Maximum taxation with zero leakage as we paid on time. Industry best practices applied locally. Single integrated approach to security and integrated approach at local job levels. Next slide, please. Let's see, air quality commitment. We've already put a full plan in for our manufacturing, our distribution, our cultivation to remain compliant with your air requirements as far as filtration. And that's an important thing when you have retail near your manufacturing and your cultivation. Scent can be an issue. So these are things we've implicated, we put in our other stores in Los Angeles successfully. Let's see, next slide, please. Next slide, please. Let's see, next slide. Let's see, local and state. Yeah, so as I said before, we are committed to being compliant with both local and state requirements. And let's see. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Let's see. General compliance. Next slide, please. Sorry. Okay, signage and notices. So also with signage, we'll stay compliant with all the sign requirements posted inside and outside the sign. Also with the signage on the exterior of the building. Next slide, please. One more. One more. Okay, bookkeeping records. It's very important that we keep all of our records in place. Be sure that taxes get paid on time to the city. As I talked about being vertically integrated, it gives us the chance to give the greatest taxes back to the city. So it'll be important for us to keep all of our accounting in place as required by the state and the city. Next slide, please. Security is a really important thing to talk about. We've had a lot of conversation with that. We've been in business for over 10 years. We've never been robbed. We've never had an issue with any security. We haven't had to call the police. We've had inspections from the police and visits from the police. We always employ multiple security guards armed. We keep them there 24/7. We have them on patrols around the area. We use cameras as required by the state. We use, accelerated security measures with key cards door to door. We have locking safes inside of our room. We have a, yeah, yeah, we have a, we.
I mean, the security is very important.
Can you go to the microphone,
Yeah, the
please?
security is very important part of this business. I mean, I would just say prevention. We don't even want to go to get to that point that anybody even make it to the shop. So we prevent for having any kind of incident or problem. And successfully in the last 10, 11 years, we never had a problem so far. So, I mean, our team actually doing a good job. The security guard that we are working with, they are excellent. They're all highly intelligent and also experienced. They're also from retired Marine, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
Marine, and also they're retired law enforcement. 17 years, Long Beach Police Department. He heads up our whole security. He also goes to the police department and forms a plan with them, discussing how we can handle things on our own at the shop, not having to use their resources. We're not too far out of the city, but we're far enough that we want to be sure that we have measures and security in place that we don't, that we prevent any type of an issue. And then last slide. Just kind of to recap, I know we've run long, but we've been in business and operating stores since 2007 in retail. We have a long and successful track record. We have about less than 90 days for construction. We have an existing building. We have plans into the city, and we're ready to go. We're vertically integrated. We hold multiple licenses, manufacturing, distribution, cultivation. We'd like to add delivery and retail to that so we can complete our circle. We plan on creating up to 50 living wage jobs across our entire business, and obviously we'll be compliant with all measures, and we appreciate your time today. We tried to make it as fast as possible, so thank you.
Anybody have any questions?
Not to you, but to the police chief. The very first presentation was an isolated potential dispensary, and this one is more centrally located in the airport. Does that present any concerns to you as far as what the service that you provide?
I think each location's kind of presents its own unique benefits and both pros and cons. We had years ago a business 150 feet away from the police station that was robbed. So it just depends, and each one it just depends on how they're set up, and to hear specifics.
So your end, the location doesn't represent by itself an extra set of concerns. It's more relevant to what they do is to prepare and make sure that they have prevented from the beginning the potential issues that may arise.
The deterrence is my main concern.
Okay, all right.
Be able to prevent something from happening.
All right, and of course that's what you've said. Sure, of course.
Currently, we are sitting on 4.5, approximately 5 acre lot. There are 2 buildings. individual freestanding buildings. So one of them is 5,000 square foot, and the other one is 10,000 square foot. So the manufacturing part is going to be on the other far end for 10,000 square foot. We already pulled the plans, permits, we finished the framings, we almost done with the electrical. And we also have industrial grade chain link fence, 9 foot tall, plus 18 inches barbed wire on top of it. It's already done. You have 2 sally ports, one for pedestrians and one for cars. So all has been done already. Now, in order to get to the dispensary, you have to go through the chain link fence, then again through the warehouse. Now you have to go through the build out because we're going to build the shop inside the warehouse. So they have to go through 3 different, I would say, barriers in order to get to the shop. But in the meantime, as my friend Walter was mentioning, so we have 2 or 3 armed security guard 24/7, which we have in our other shops in the city of Los Angeles. So, thank you.
Questions?
I had 2. I think you said your anticipated date of operation would be when?
So I think it's about 90 days of construction
Okay.
for us or less. You know, we've already started some of the permitting process. I think I don't want to speak out of turn, so we'd want planning to confirm exactly where the process is, but we're ready to go. We've started some of the construction already.
Yeah, I saw the picture and stuff.
Well, the site plans are done. As soon as we submit it to Joe, he stamped it for us, 90 days or less.
Okay. And then a couple other people have answered. What do you project what do you think your anticipated revenue to the city will be?
Okay.
Annually?
Well, that's a really tricky question. Let me just be honest here. I'm doing it for more than 11 years. Right now in Beverly Hills shop, we're doing over $3 million a year. In Sylmar, we are 3.5. Okay. I have no idea. Just to be honest, nobody knows. If somebody tells me here, okay, the first year we're going to do 1 million, I just go, okay, show it to me, right? Nobody knows. But you do your best, and you hope for the best, okay? I'm assuming maybe in the next couple of years, at least we're going to revenue like $1.5, $2 million, including delivery. That's a realistic number. And based on that, so you guys are going to get 6% taxes, okay? Manufacturing, on the other hand, and cultivation, that's a different issue. Okay, I mean, we don't have time today, but I can break it down for you guys next time when I see you, hopefully. And that's amazing. Okay, that's a really amazing number. But shop, storefront, and delivery combined, I would say 1.5 to 2 after a year. Sure.
You have any questions? Nobody else have any? Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was the last for the storefront presentations. We're gonna take a recess until 1 o'clock so people can go get lunch. When we come back, then we'll go ahead and open it back up to the public if the public has any questions from the people who have done theirs. If not, then we'll move on to the mobile. So looking for a motion to recess.
So
that
moved.
motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're recessed until 1 o'clock.
Barsum's up there? Yay, I'll do it.
You don't want to go to Best West Pizza? Come on.
I would go home.
Yeah,
I
so
got
would
I got food at home. But if they got stuff here, I'll sit here.
I'll go look, but I got a worker that I got to go check on. Okay. The difference is, oh, okay. Where are your sheets that they give you?
Right here.
Okay, so give me your okay, so your delivery here. So you got a blank delivery sheet.
A lot of cool stuff in
Look
here.
at these.
I mean, not beyond the
Six
personal stuff.
different.
The work they put into.
I've got 6
making
different numbers here versus here. We're just going to go by this one. As if you go down here, Cal City 9760, Cal City Supply 9760, Cal City Supply 9885, Royal 795.
Oh, yeah, wow.
Royal 9805. rather than make a big deal out of it, we're just gonna run the.
Oh, that's what you showed Christian.
Yeah.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
so there's 6 of them.
Okay, good. Thank you.